Rabid Code asks, given that you have a growing following, how do you feel about the world knowing so much about you while you may know so little about them? Do you have concerns about being a target of identity theft, hackers, and the likes? What, if anything, do you do to protect yourself? Great question. I do care about this quite a bit. After I worked at Sierra, I went to work for another software company, and I worked in the internet security section of that and got my eyes open to quite a bit, back in the early 2000s and stuff like that. So that was a long time ago. But I've always kind of cared about that. I will tell you a couple things here. Banks and credit card companies will tell you, don't worry about it. If it happens to you, we'll just reimburse you. Well, a couple years ago, I was trying to pay for parking and trying to run my debit card, and it was denied. And I was like, what the hell? I just used it like yesterday. Denied. I was like, is it not reading a strip? What the hell is going on here? So I go into the office, check my bank account. It is zero. And this is at the beginning of the month, and I had to pay mortgage. And so I'm going to be late on my mortgage. And if you have a mortgage, you know that banks today they'll forgive you once for being late, but twice they have a clause in there where they can basically increase your mortgage immediately. Now you can get on the phone with them and try to plead your case. My experience has been that they're less willing to believe you, because I think a lot of people call them up and claim that their identity theft was stolen. What I'm trying to get at here is that, yes, my money was put back into my bank, but it took 3 or 4 weeks to do it, and it sucked because I had to borrow money to pay my mortgage and then pay that back. It sucked, So I don't know. I mean, and the thing is that with that is that I didn't do anything wrong. Like, my debit card was duplicated in Ireland, and the person who duplicated, they didn't just have my number, they actually created my card and ran it through a machine in Ireland somehow. So that was very annoying. That said, do I care about privacy and all that sort of stuff? Absolutely. But the thing is that it's not really just an issue if you are popular. A lot of people who have many, many less YouTube followers, Twitter followers than me get hacked all the time. There's a couple things I would recommend people do, and this is to everyone. If you care about your identity and you care about your personal information being out there, and if you care about your social media accounts, I recommend two things. One, if they support it, turn on two-step authentication. A lot of services do. Facebook does, Twitter does, Gmail does. Turn that on, because essentially what that means is that someone cannot reset your password unless they have your physical phone. Now, there are supposedly a couple ways to get around that, and basically you have to tell your cell phone provider to turn off some things and tighten up their security a little bit. But two-step authentication should be on everything that you care about. The other thing, and everyone can do this, and it's not hard. When you forget your password and it asks you, what's your mother's maiden name? Or what's your favorite place to vacation? Or all these sort of questions. Here's my tip to you. Lie. Never tell the truth on those. Ever. If it asks you what your mother's maiden name is, tell them Snoopy, tell them Star Trek, tell them Brown, tell them whatever. Basically make that up. And the reason for that is because we are becoming very connected in this world, and it's becoming easier for hackers to find that stuff out. Public records are available. Sometimes your medical records get hacked. All that sort of stuff. If you make up those challenge questions, no one will ever be able to guess those. And then basically use a password protection program, like a place to store it, like 1Password or LastPass, things like that. That said, I try not to be over worried about it, because at the end of the day, nothing is truly safe. Nothing is truly unhackable. I guess for me, as a parting thing on this, maybe this is being kind of an older guy. it's disappointing that people who are so smart and so gifted at computers and all that, and code and stuff, it's so disappointing that they don't use that knowledge and that passion in something that's a little bit more constructive. It's disappointing that those people spend their time and bringing down YouTube and Instagram channels just for fun because they're bored. Instead, why don't you use your powers for good? Why not try to help companies who may need that help? I know you think you're helping by taking out some little mom or pop's Twitter or social media account or mine, but why not try to use your powers for good? That would be my message for that stuff. So I don't know if that's a pipe dream, but it's kind of how I feel. This question was asked by one of my Patreon contributors who also helps support my YouTube channel and videos. I want to thank you very much. In addition to being able to ask me questions like this in a private message board, you also get early access to all of my videos and some other really cool perks. If you're interested in checking that out, please go to patreon.com/MetalJesusRocks.